What's up, people? Of course here, coming at you with another Rogue Company video. Today, I'm going to be going over every perk, explaining them, and then showing you what they actually look like in game. And then we're going to rank each perk based off how useful we think they are. So we're going to do a quick little tier list for the perks that are in the game right now. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to start off right here with the Shredder rounds. This perk right here deals more damage to equipment and allows you to carry more ammunition. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like in game.
Targets eliminated.
So before the Shredder rounds, we're actually doing about 25 for a body shot. Let's see how much that increases once we put the Shredder rounds on.
No enemies remaining. Well done.
So it looks like once we put the Shredder rounds on, we're doing up to 32 for a body shot. That means we're getting about a 28% increase in damage. The next perk we have here is Berserker. So this one right here, you gain the ability to reload while sprinting. Pretty straightforward, but let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like in game. So Berserker is interesting because as you see here, I'm going to start sprinting, then I'll reload my gun while I'm sprinting. Now look when I do it again here. So I'm going to empty my clip, and now that I'm sprinting, it doesn't have the animation, but I am reloading my gun. So interesting. I don't know if that's a glitch in the game right now or it's supposed to be like that, but you can be running and reloading your gun without the animation. So just keep that in mind. That's Berserker. Next up here, we have Helping Hand. This one right here allows you to revive teammates faster. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So in this clip, we're going to be trying the Helping Hands with Saints because he is the medic. As you see, somebody goes down here. We're going to send our drone. And at the count, it looked like it takes about 8 seconds for it to get her up. Now, keep in mind, it'll only take 5 seconds if you're on somebody that isn't Saints and you're doing it by hand. Saints can also res by hand as well. Now, let's take a look at how much it's reduced when I equipped him with Helping Hand. So it looks like it goes from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. And if you're doing it by hand, so no drone, it goes from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. So about 25 to 20% faster. Next, we have Tenacity. Tenacity allows you to take reduced damage from explosives. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much it actually reduces the amount of explosive damage. So right here, we're about to throw our grenade, and we're going to make sure we don't get our buddy in it here. And we're going to see it should kill us, right? There we go. So it brings us down to 0. Now, let's see what it looks like once we actually put the Tenacity perk on. And don't worry, Saints is about to res me right here. So now we'll see how much damage we take now that we have Tenacity equipped.
Lethal out.
So last time I did 100, now it will do 61. So it looks like we have a 39% reduction in explosive damage. So not too bad. The next perk is Headstrong. This allows you to gain 25 armor. So you basically get 25 additional health. Let me show you what that looks like in game. So Headstrong is pretty straightforward. As you see there, I have my 4 regular bars, and then Headstrong gives me that additional blue bar, which is considered armor. Next, we have a Life Drain. This is one of my favorite perks right here. Downing an enemy heals for a significant amount over a short duration. Let me show you what that looks like in actual gunfights. So as you see here, we're about to run up on somebody, and we have Headstrong on, so we have the 25 extra armor. Now watch when we knock him. We get back our health immediately. That's the good thing about Life Drain, but we do not get the armor back. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking of pairing the two. Headstrong does give you a nice little buffer, but it does not get regen by Life Drain. The next perk we have is Stalker. This basically removes aim down sight movement speed penalties. So let me show you how fast you're moving before you take this perk and then how fast you move once you take it. So as you see here, we're aiming down sights and we are moving fairly slow. You can definitely tell that you have a penalty right now while doing it. I still don't think that this is a perk that you necessarily need to have, but if you're running a sniper, it might very well be the difference between slaying out and not. Let's take a look at what it looks like once we actually put the perk on. Okay, so now we have the perk on and you can definitely tell that there is a slight difference here. My only concern is I don't know if it's worth the $6,500. Now, if you are sniping, this is going to make a difference, especially if you're trying to like poke in and out of cover. But you do have to think about how you want to spend your money and if this is the most valuable purchase that you can take. So keep that in mind. The next perk is Replenish. This pairs very well with Life Drain. So right here, downing an enemy reloads your currently equipped weapon and restores ammunition. So very good for those sustained firefights, right? Where people are just coming back to back or they're moving as a group. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this perk works in game. So as soon as we land here, we're gonna get run up on. And as you see, our mag got refilled twice. So we didn't have to reload, didn't have to do anything. We could just keep firing. And that is a good way to win those fights where you're outnumbered, especially if you can get the jump on people, because you have that split second of surprise. Next up, we have padded steps. This right here silences the sound of your footsteps when you're not sprinting. So keep that in mind when you're not sprinting. So you have to be at like that little jog pace. Let's take a look at how loud you are before you take this perk and then how silent you can be after. So something to note here, when you're walking, you're not actually making much noise. When you jog, you're starting to make noise. And then when you actually start to sprint, you're making a lot of noise. That's when people can hear your footfalls really stomping around. So let's look at how quiet you are with the perk. Now, as you see here, I'm not making any noise while I'm jogging. I am almost dead silent. So that's a big difference, and that's huge for flanking. Now, when I start running, though, I still make the same amount of noise. So keep that in mind. I'm still loud when sprinting, but you can jog and still get around people pretty easy. So this is a great perk. The next perk we have is called Bounca Back. This right here reduces your health regeneration delay, meaning that you can start regenerating health sooner with this perk. Let's go ahead and take a look at how long it takes to regen without the perk, and then how long it takes once you take this perk here. So without Bounca Back, it looks like it takes about 6 seconds for your health to actually start to regen. Let's see what we can get that down to with the perk activated. So with the perk activated, it only takes about 4 seconds for your health to come back. So a 2-second difference, which is about 33%. So that's not bad. The next perk we have here is Nimble Hands. This increases weapon swap speed and also reload speed. So let's go ahead and take a look at how fast you're swapping and reloading before this and then after. So after looking at the swap speed and the reload speed, I don't see a big significant difference. Like right here, it's about 1.5 seconds, 1.6, I think is what it actually says. But let's see if it looks different when we actually put the perk on. So I'm gonna shoot at this rock here just so I'm not distracted by the actual fight. And it doesn't seem like there's a huge difference in the actual reload speed, and same for the swap speed. So this one right here, it's a low cost perk, but it may not be worth the money. The next perk we have is tracker rounds. Damaging an enemy with firearms will reveal them to your team. So I'm not going to show this one, but it's pretty much self-explanatory. As long as you're shooting people with your pistol, you are going to be showing their location to your teammates. This is a very solid perk. The next perk we have here is called Evade. After being damaged, it's going to increase your movement speed for a short duration. I want to show you what that looks like, and I also want you to be listening for the sound cue. It's going to sound like a strong gust of wind. That's how you're going to know that this effect is activated. Let's go ahead and take a look. So as we run up on this woman, we're going to get her to shoot us, and then it's going to be activated. You hear that gust of wind. You get a little bit of a speed boost there. Now, the speed boost isn't substantial, but it may be enough to get you out of a tough spot. So up to you if you want to grab it or not. And our last perk here is going to be 6 Sense. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this is like in game. It's going to notify you when enemies within 25 meters are looking in your direction or at you. So let's see what that looks like. Thanks. So right here, the eye was yellow for a second. And then as this lady rolls out and points her gun at me, it turns red. And now as I break line of sight with the person in the smoke, it goes yellow, then it turns back red as I'm firing at them. So it looks like when people are looking at you and actually shooting at you, it's going to be red, or if you're engaged, it's red. If people are near you, but not necessarily shooting, they may be looking your way, it's yellow. And sometimes it's just red for no reason. There will not even be anybody around you. So that might be a little bit of a glitch. This one is very situational. It's good to help against like flanking, but it may not be something that you want to spend 10K on. All right, people, now that we've gone through all the perks and I've given my explanations and shown you how they work, let's go ahead and rank them on this tier list here. I've already put it together. I'm going to start from the S tier and go down to what I consider D. I didn't put anything under that because I don't think there are any perks in the game that are complete failures. I think there are some that are just more beneficial than others most of the time. So at the S tier, I have Replenish, I have Life Drain, and I have Padded Step. I think these three are always going to be useful no matter what the game is. Replenish, being able to fire your clip, and once you down somebody, get that automatic reloaded. You're basically just a machine gun, and if you have aim, you're getting those headshots. You're never really going to have to reload, especially if you catch people off guard. Same thing with Life Drain. This is an amazing ability right here. This allows you to get in situations where you can reliably trade with people shot for shot, and know that once you down them, you're going to be getting your health back so that you can jump right into the next encounter. And if you have replenish and life drain together, you're going to be fully topped off on health, or most of the time you'll be topped off on health, and then your ammo is going to be topped up all the time. So very dangerous combination. They're definitely S tier. And then padded step, this right here allows you to flank, and I think that is so big in this game. If somebody gets to your backside and you're not aware of them, because how many people are actually going to be running Sixth Sense? Somebody might, but they may not have a Ronin on their team. So realistically, this ability is going to allow you to get in that backline and really tear them up, and at the very least make the enemy team have to make some hard choices and pay attention to you. So I think this right here is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. Now in the A tier, these are really good perks. I just didn't think they deserved to be necessarily S tier. So we're going to start with the shredder rounds. I think this is an amazing perk. All in all, it just gives you 28% more damage, and you can't really beat that. It's a good early game perk if you just want to pump out more damage, you want to get more kills, get early cash for later on. I mean, all around, doing more damage is always going to be good. Same thing with Headstrong. You get 25 armor, so you basically get 25 more health, which is always good. I don't think it's necessarily S tier great, but it's definitely a nice little chunk of health, and it can help you I don't know, pad yourself so when you get into those big gunfights, especially if you're rocking it with something like life drain, you know, you're going to be very hard to take down. Next up, we have the helping hand. I struggle with this one a little bit between putting it in B and A, but ultimately I think that it's very good, and I think it should go into A, especially if you put it on somebody like Saints, who can res from a distance and res from cover. So if you put it on somebody like that, it takes his drone from healing you from like 8 seconds to 6 seconds. So almost the same as like a regular heal, right? So you can do that from the safety of your cover. So if you put this on a regular person, it takes it from 5 to 4, which isn't quite as good because you still have to get out there and actually touch that person and heal them. But on Saints, I definitely think it's A tier. On anyone else, I will put it down to B tier. Next up, we have Bounce Back. I thought this was an A tier ability. Being able to regen your health faster, I think, is always a great thing. Now, it's not as good, obviously, as the life drinker right here, but it still is pretty good. You can start regenning after 4 seconds, so if you can get behind cover, get out of combat, you'll be able to start getting your health back, and you regen fairly quickly. So it's a good way to stay in the fight and not get taken out. Now, the B tier, I put these here because they are so very situational, and I didn't know, you know, they're definitely not A tier, but I didn't want to put them any lower than this. So we'll start off with Sixth Sense. This is a good ability, but it's very situational, right? It's good for those people who are going to be flanking. So, you know, I think of Dallas off top because he's one of the few characters that actually has padded step. So you'll be able to know when Dallas is has his eye on you, so that you can warn your team, so that you can go back and put an end to him. But at the same time, if your team is competent, you're probably watching your flank anyway. So it's one of those abilities that I have a hard time trying to place. But ultimately, I'm going to stick with B for now. Maybe that'll change as the game progresses. Next up here, we have Stalker. Kind of in the same vein as Sixth Sense. This is one of those abilities where, yeah, it does help you move a little faster while you're ADSing, but is it really worth spending that cash when you can spend it on something else like shredder rounds or something like that? Now, if you're sniping, so like if you're on Phantom, then I kind of see it a little bit more, because being able to move at a decent clip while you're hard scoping can be very beneficial. But again, this is a very situational type of ability. That's why I put it B tier. It's a mid tier type of thing. Same thing with Cloak tier. Cloak can be very good. It allows you to not be revealed. So if you pair that up with like padded step, you know, it can be really good. But again, very situational. It's one of those things where you can take it or you cannot. I've been in many situations where I've flanked and people know that I'm there or not, and I'm still able to get off some good kills, because the idea of flanking is, even if people know that they're being flanked, it still makes them have to make those hard choices. And if nothing else, they're going to have to send somebody, or as a team, try to rotate. So the thing with flanking is, I don't know if not being detected is as big of a deal, especially when you have something like padded step, which can already somewhat do that. So Cloak does keep you from being revealed, but I don't think it's necessarily worth the money all the time. So we'll leave that up to you to decide. Now in the C tier, and I debated putting Cloak down here, but C tier, these are the abilities that are very hard for me, because I just don't feel like their abilities are really worth the cash that you spend on them. So we're going to start with Evade. When you take damage, you get a small speed boost. It's not really that great though. Like, it's not really gonna make the difference in a gunfight for the most part. Like, yeah, there's gonna be some times where, oh, maybe evade saves your butt, but all in all, I don't think that it's a very good ability, and it's not gonna be worth the money when there's some better options at that at those early game type of perks you can buy. Same thing for Berserker. Being able to run and reload is cool, and it's kind of nice that you can do it without the animation, but ultimately, is that going to be the thing that stops you from winning a game or not? I don't think so, and I don't know if I will put money in this very often. I can see certain situations, like I said before, and if this is a perk that you really love, by all means, go for it. But for me personally, I don't think I'll be spending too much time with it. Tracker. Now, tracker rounds, this one I struggle with, because this one, I can see people putting this one up at the A, B. I put it down at C, because I feel like there's already champions or rogues that can reveal people's location. So spending 10K on an ability that you may already have, depending on who you're playing, or somebody in your team may already have, I don't see it being a good use of your economy, especially when you have things in this price range, like replenish and life drain, right? So this can be beneficial depending on your team comp. Like, maybe you have no trackers on your team, so you need something like this. But if you're building your team correctly, I don't see this being a necessity. Now for the D tier. Now, by no means do I think that these are horrible abilities. I just think that they're very situational. So like Tenacity, yes, it reduces grenade damage by a fair amount. I want to say 39% is what I said. Now that's fair, that's good. But for the most part, unless you're trying to counter like Dima, the noob tube guy, you know, grenades aren't going to be like the big end all, and I'm not sure that spending that money there is going to be the best bang for your buck. I'd rather have that map awareness, that game awareness, and know, oh, there's a grenade coming in, or there's a grenade sticking there, let me get out of the way, as opposed to spending money so that I can survive an impact. That's just me. Now the last one here is going to be Nimble Hands. The reason I put this one at the bottom is because I don't really see the difference in the reload speed and the swap speed, or at least it's not something that is so great that it's worth the money, right? So for these two, I rather leave both of these out of my loadout altogether and get something up here like shredder rounds, or even save up money to get this 25 armor with Headstrong, and that'll kind of make up for the explosive damage if you're afraid of that. So people, that's my tier list. If you have a different way that you are building your rogues and that you want to share in the comment section, feel free to do so. This by no means is a professional or a top tier type of tier list. It's just what I believe right now with my time in the game. If you made it to the end of the video, do me a favor and put that down in the comments, because I think this is going to be a fairly long one. I've put a lot of time in this video. And if you did make it to the end, make sure to drop a like and subscribe today to become a member of the Ors Force. If there's any videos you'd like me to make sure to throw that down there as well. And thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video or live stream. I want to get back to actually streaming this game a little bit because I'm loving it, but I want to get these videos out first. People, this is Ors the Course. We'll see you in the next video. Peace, 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 peace.